Are we good? Are we golden? All right, sounds good. I'm gonna post that I'm live. Gonna cool deal. All right. So, um, I why are you being silly? Uh, I did this the other day. I mean, nobody was here, but that's fine. I did this the other day as a Q&A thing, and I didn't have the right settings turned on for my stream, so it deleted everything. And so here we are again, because this is an assignment. I do have to turn it in, all that sort of thing. Uh, but it was a lot of fun. It's still going to be a lot of fun today. And we're going to go ahead and get started with the art. Questions are encouraged, wanted, needed. It's a Q&A stream. You can do say hi or whatever whenever you want. Um, so yeah. Uh, so as I said, this is a romance comic, as I've stated, and these are some of the main characters within said comic. I don't know why that one's always messed up. It's fine, we're gonna fix it. Um, I don't know what's going on over here with this one and why it's not doing what I want it to do. But it's fine. It's fine. Trying to think of what to say. Bunk, bunk, bunk. Elizabethan clothing is weird. That's what I'm gonna say. This is not the greatest example of it, what I've drawn thus far, but it was just a very interesting time period for clothes. That's the wrong layer anyways. Um, just because there were so many weird clothes, that's how I want to put it, I guess. Like, there were so many layers, and you could say that about any era, really, before, say, I want to, in the 1920s. So many layers. But it really did have a lot of layers, and none of it was very, like, flattering or form-fitting, if you know what I mean. There's a fly down here. Fuck off. Go away. Don't you know I'm streaming? Rude. Don't land on my face when I'm doing this. Alright. Up, up, up. I'm just double checking things. Um, Coloring in Honora's clothes. There's a lot of colors that like you would think would be used, or you would think would be like certain, I suppose like you would obviously like purple is for like no like only for royalty. But and like dark, but peasants didn't wear like dark drab colors, you know? They wore a lot of really bright colors, a lot of whites. There are some grays and stuff in there, but also there's some like light blues very rarely. There's greens and yellows were very popular. Um, but that's if you could afford, obviously, that fabric, that the dyes. Um, which Honora's family, yes and no on affording things. Right now, she's not really in colors that suit her. She's not in colors that really compliment her or otherwise. My phone has been buzzing. Who's trying to get a hold of me? I'm in middle of something. Oh, it's Twitch. That's normal. Okay. Um, yeah, she's not in colors that really suit her. Um, because she's not been allowed to really, even though she's a 25-year-old woman, she's not been allowed to really give herself a lot of freedom in deciding her clothes and what she likes because of her mom. Her mom's a very domineering person, we'll say that. Is it the right color? Boop, boop. I'm cleaning up some of my coloring right now because I was a little messy with it the other day because I'm like, I'll fix it. It's fine. Everything's fine. And now I'm doing it. Now I'm paying for myself and fixing it. This piece looks a little weird right here, so I think I'm gonna really quickly um mess with it. Because I don't mind the black. The black's not the issue. It's the fact that it's all like not blended in. Hold on. Let's see there. Things are silly. I want to see my uh, chit, chit, chit. Nothing's happening yet. That's okay. Um, that's normal. Da-ba-ba-ba. Where's my page? There it is. Let's try some of these other blenders that I have. I use a lot of different blenders because um I like to blend out a lot of my shading. I think the problem is the density. Maybe it was not the density. Let's try this one again. Oh, go back to here. We're gonna. Okay, that's a little bit better. Um, just because I want it to not look like I used brush, you know? Want it to look like it's actually her hair, and it's meant to look like that, and all that is meant to just naturally start to curl. And I'm really bad at drawing curls, hence why I use a brush for it. And I'm still I'm still figuring everything out, right? I'm still figuring it out. Um, all right, I can see the chat there, so I don't need to have this. So, okay. If anybody has questions, I can be in either Curious Cat or they can put them directly into the. That looks wrong. If I use this one, I don't know if that's doing anything for me either. Um, trying to make it look a little bit better without ruining it. Without ruining everything. That's part for the course. So my whole idea with this is to have, I don't want to say a fan base because a fan base makes it sound like I'm like, oh, I want fans, I want people to worship and adore me, I want everybody to think that I'm super cool, and I don't want that. What I want is for people to enjoy what I'm doing and for them to connect with a lot of what I'm doing. And I want people to uh, how do I want to say this? Why is it not doing what I want it to? Because I'm on a blender, not an actual brush. Dumbass. I don't think that's doing what I want it to do it either. Um, I want a safe space. I want a safe space for people who are LGBT plus to come in and be able to enjoy what I'm doing. I want people to be able to uh, feel like they have a place here within this community that is, yes, centered around these characters in this comic, but it's not necessary. I like that a little bit, but I don't want to. Alright, here. Well, so we'll just do it like this. I think that'll look alright. If we do it there, erase the part that's on the ear. And then we take one of our erasers. No, wrong. Incorrect. This one of our erasers and just erase off. Yeah, I think that looks better. There we go. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. And then we're gonna just go back to that brush. We're gonna make the opacity a little bit dimmer. We're gonna go over all of it. But not all of it, just like the inside parts. Make it look a little bit more natural, I guess. A little bit more like it's actually blending into her head. It's actually a part of her hair. But I don't want to do the outside lines because I want those to remain really black and stark in contrast and look like how I do my regular style, how I outline it and all that. So we're gonna go back over. Whoa, Miles, you stay there. We're gonna go back over some of these lines here in a little bit and erase some that got on the clothesline art because I love lineless art, okay? I love looking at it. I think it's so beautiful. I don't like it for my own art because I think it doesn't look right when I do it for myself. And I don't really have a way of like explaining it or why, but it is what it is. That's not showing up, is it? My people are texting me, and so it's popping up on my feed on my phone. Oh, hi, Nene. What's up? What's going on? Thank you for coming. Boop, boop, boop. Chipping, chipping, chipping. People need to stop texting me. Alright, I'm gonna tell people, leave me alone. Go away. Up. Okay. There's a twirl. Hello. Welcome. Star of the show. Erase some of this here. Questions, comments, and concerns are welcome and allowed. This is technically a Q&A stream, but it's mostly just me rambling because I don't know how to do these things. I need to stream more, learn things. Um, over here. Not that big. Not too far. There we go. Need to select the correct brush. This is on the wrong layer anyway. There we go. This always reminds me when I do things on the wrong layer. But basically, what I want is I hate the word fan base so much. It's like the only word that's coming into my brain. I don't want a fan base. I don't want people to worship me. That makes me feel weird. I'm not here for that. But what I do want is for people to feel connected through these stories and all that sort of thing. Um, I want people to enjoy these characters and the effort that I have put into creating these storylines. And I just I want people to like me. Is that really it's a weird thing to say? Um, probably. Probably. Anyways, um, how's your day going, Yi? How's your day going, Nico? I had to do work today, and that wasn't super fun, but it's fine. Um, Adaba! Keep doing the wrong layer, 'cause I'm not paying attention like I should be. Unfocused. Mm, Why is things being silly? I wish I okay, I don't know how to get music to happen, and I'm really sorry. Um, yeah, I don't know how to do music. I wish I did, but I don't. All right. So it's just my voice, just my voice. Um, Always when I'm doing my coloring, I'm realizing how much I messed up on everything else. I don't know how that happens, but it is what it is. I did color this really messily last time that I was on, just because I'm like, I just want all the colors in there. And also, it wasn't selecting, and it still isn't selecting the way I want it to, and I'm not sure why it's doing that. We're gonna go back to her clothes now. Like I said, in the Elizabethan era, clothes were weird. Clothes were super weird, and they were just not. They weren't very fashionable. I will say that. I'll be completely honest and fair. For a modern eye, it's really not the most fashionable, pretty piece of pretty clothing. It's very much, what is this? What am I looking at? What is going on? And it's that's not what I wanted. It's the type of clothes where you kind of look at it and it's like, really? This is what you went with? This is what we're doing? Mostly because of especially the men's fashion. Because it's all of these like pants that don't make sense. They're very silly. They don't look right. I don't know. Um, but the reason, as I said, why Honora's in these colors is she's not really allowed to decide her clothes for herself at this point in time. And when she does decide her clothes for herself, she wears a lot different colors. She wears a lot of blues at the present moment. She wants to wear purples because purple's her favorite color, but that's reserved for royalty, and she doesn't feel like getting beheaded, you know? I don't think anybody really feels like being beheaded most days. Um, there we go. Mm-hmm. So there's that part. I'm gonna go over to this side of the dress. There wasn't a corset really back in this era. It was it was more along the lines. I know I switched the colors, but it's fine. Because I think this makes a little bit more sense. Um, to have the pop of blue next to the orange. Um, I was saying something. This is why I'm not allowed to be alone when I do these. Um, oh, no, forgot how to connect Discord to this too. I did it last time. Because if Nico, if you wanna pop on Discord on the VC chat, if you can do that, but it's fine if you don't. I don't. I don't. It is what it is. All right, that looks good. It's looking better. It's more like what I want. All right, we're gonna do her eyes now because eyes are special. I do love drawing eyes. You know, stereotypical thing in like middle school where you would fill up your notebook with eyes, that sort of thing. Do this part, and then we're going to do this. This is going to be a little awkward, our stamp, but where are they? Stamps? Where are my stamps? Where'd they go? There they are. They're in here somewhere. I don't know where I've put them. Where are my eye stamps? I know I made them. Now this is just being silly. It's just straight silliness. But it's not in hair. I didn't put it in there. It's not in pens. It's not in markers. It's not in my pencils. Because I wouldn't put it in there. It was in here. I have to re-download them. Ah! I have to redo this. Alright, here we go. This is the thing that I did for her eyes. Because it makes things easier for me in my life and everything. So we're gonna do it. It's not really gonna show up super well, but I want it to still be there as a sort of a consistent style piece. And then we're gonna do highlights and shading later. So that's all we're gonna do for that right now. We're gonna do in this hanky. We're gonna put in the handkerchief that she's working on, the sewing. That's gonna be a lovely little green color because that was Miles's. Oh, alright, nothing going on there. Everything's good here. Alright. Um, suppose I should talk about the overall plot line. I am so sorry if you hear the dog barking. I don't know what he's barking at. And I refuse to check it out because I don't want to leave the stream. Um, so um the overall plot line, I did say this last time, and people who know me know this. Um, the overall plot line is that Honora was uh, Honora's mother had a lot of borrowed a lot of money from this guy, from Richard, because he's the Duke and he has the most money. And he allowed her to because he is very close to Honora's father, who's just a baron. We're gonna do Miles now. Oop, forgot Miles' braid. Actually, you know what? This is fine. This is fine. I think he looks fine. Um, so she borrowed quite a bit of money from Richard, and instead of saving and paying it off and all the logical things you're supposed to do when you borrow money, she didn't do any of that. What she did was, oh, wrong. I forgot that I said this is a reference layer. Do that. There we go. All layers. There we go. Instead, she says, well, why don't you marry my daughter instead? Because her dowry is the same amount as the money that I borrowed from you. And Richard, being a normal person and not a weirdo like the rest of the men are in this time period, It's like, why in the actual hell would I do that? One, I don't want to get married. Two, your daughter's a grown woman. She's allowed to decide what she wants with her life, which is, again, controversial for this time period. Let's just admit. Controversial. Richard's so progressive. He's such a good boy. Um, and so he goes to the estate to be like, all right, what the hell is going on here? Why is this happening? Is there like not a good relationship within the family? What is going on? And so he goes, and Nora doesn't realize it's him at first. Now they're just Miles. Neither of them realize it's Richard at first. And they catch on pretty quickly though. And he sort of looks over him and he's like, I like these two. These two people. They're very smart. They know what they want. They're very ambitious. I think what I'm going to do is have them come and live with me, and I will teach them how to inherit the dukedom when I decide I no longer want to, when I no longer want to be the duke. Because he's like, I want to retire. I'm old. Let me go to bed. Uh, not really, but he never really wanted the position. It was very much thrown at him, and he's not pleased about it. So he presents this to Honora and Miles. He's like, hey, if you come with me, I will teach you everything to know. And if you want to start, like, say, your own business or something, you can do that. If you want to do something else with your life, that's perfectly fine. Whatever you want. Um, I'm drawing with you. We're parallel playing. Mood. What a mood. Aw, thank you. Where are you drawing, Nico? Let me get. Are you drawing stuff for your comics? Or are you drawing Miguel? You drawing Miguel from Spider-Verse? uh Miles is initially not super sure about this because he's suspicious. He's a very suspicious person, as, being a person of color, usually, and also being a witch and having lived through an inquisition is wont to do to a person. But Lenora is really in for this idea because she's like, well, I want to be away from my parents, especially my mom. She's very much overwhelming, and I'm not allowed to live my life the way that I want to. And I'm not being allowed to decide what I want for myself. And I want to open my own sewing shop. I want to do that. I want to be a seamstress and a tailor. Are those the same thing? I think they might be the same thing. I don't know. Just realized that I'm not sure. However, and so she convinces Miles. She's like, "Please, please, please, you have to come with me. I don't want to go alone. You're my big brother. You have to come with me." And Miles is like, "Fine." If you're curious why Miles is wearing a dress right now, it's because right now they are known as Milagrosa, and they are not publicly out yet. They are a trans man, and he is not out as of the present moment because it's not safe for him to be um out really at this present time. Uh it's not that like Honora's father wouldn't accept him. Honora's mom's a wackadoodle. She's a different story. But it's more along the lines of this was so much easier than Honora with her freaking hair. Um Honora, I love you. Why your hair gotta be so difficult, my girl? Mm. So uh it's more along the lines of everybody else in society. Obviously, this is the 1600s. People who are trans was not looked favorably upon just yet. Oh, that's the wrong color. And it's a bit of an ordeal, unfortunately, for him. But after he goes to Richard notices relatively quickly what, like, because he's been around trans people before. I have him looking at Noric, like, what's going on? What is this? Why are you smiling? What is wrong with you? Um, and he says to Miles, if you want to be yourself, if you want to be a man and all that sort of thing, you are 110% allowed. Here's some, I can give you some clothes and you can decide a name for yourself. And I will make sure everybody in this manor respects you and calls you by that name. Miles's eyes are going to be. I do different shapes for everybody's eyes because I think that it's, well, shapes for different eye shapes, obviously, because everybody has different looking eyes, but I like to do a special thing inside the pupil because I believe it makes it look a little bit more realistic. Not realistic, that's not the word I'm looking for. I do draw pupils because that's how eyes work. However, I like to draw special shapes inside the eyes to represent each character's personality and what they're all on, what they're about, and that sort of thing. I think I'm only gonna do like an hour and a half on this stream, just so I, just so I have time to do a couple of the other things that I need to do today. I think Miles is going to be. I can't decide if I want Miles to have stars in his eyes as well. I'm thinking that's what I want. Yeah. So, create material. They're gonna look a little silly just for a second. A little bit bigger than that. We'll just, because I created these in one color, not thinking about it, I suppose, and realized that they would 100% have to be a different shade. Oh, shit, I'm stupid. I did that wrong. Give me a second. I'll visit. I visit. First, we're going to erase these parts. And then we're going to go and click for this. And then we will do it this way. There we go. Miles has little stars in his eyes. He's adorable. He is a witch, as is said. This is a supernatural world. This is, it has a lot of supernatural elements. I would not call this spooky. Or in a lot of ways, I would not call it horror or thriller, in any sense of the word at the present moment, just because of, it doesn't really have those sorts of elements. It will not describe it as such. What I would describe it as is a romance, as I've said, and I would describe it as mm, an introduction. This is an introduction into this world that I have created, that I have built, and it is in the process very much of becoming a thing. So we're gonna mark this folder as Miles. Bonk. Alright, Rich. It's Richie's turn. Richard is my favorite character. Everyone who knows me knows that. He is my everything, the light of my life. I adore him. He's a character that I feel very connected to personally, and one that speaks to me in a lot of different ways. Um, he's a very reserved character. He's very much the opposite of Honora in a lot of ways. He's very shy and quiet and reserved. He is older. I forgot his crow's feet. Forgot an essential part of his character design. How could I? A sham. Lies and slander upon me. He is a vampire. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it because it gets revealed extremely early on within the comic that that is what he is. He is very much, I wouldn't say open about it, but if you figure it out, he's gonna be like, "Yep, you got me. I don't drink human blood unless absolutely necessary, but sometimes like there's a system in place for vampires that they don't have to drink blood." Why is this being so weird to me? Usually I put them up there because that's kind of where they go. But but it's not looking right though. I don't know why. That's mm, it's better. It's not exactly what I want. Closer. Don't know why it's being difficult with me. You know what? Just gonna redo the whole eye because it's being mean, and I'm not a fan of that. That's about the same size. Yeah, there we go. That's a bit better. Um, Honora and Miles figured it out really fast because they're smart. They're smart beans, and they don't. They're not scared of him because by the time they figured it out, they trust him immensely. He's very close to them by that point, and he's like a friend. And if you found out your friend was a vampire, would you immediately be like, "Well, I can't trust you anymore?" Or would you learn? Would you overcome that sort of instinctual fear? That's better. There we go. Um, it's that fear. Why did I do it this way? Well, shit, I'm gonna have to redraw that eye now. I don't know why I did the coloring wrong. I did the coloring in the way that I usually don't do it, and I'm not exactly sure why. Probably because I was talking. I got distracted. I think his eye is just tilted, that's why. The dog is barking again. I'm very sorry. I don't know what his deal is right now. Um, there must be somebody outside or like people walking because it's a nice day out. There we go. And then this one I want to make larger. That's not able to be seen, right? I always double check that people can't see my text messages because I do have it on window capture and OBS is very very good at capturing things. Um, Richard is just a very sad person. I'm gonna be honest. He's a very sad, but like the reason this arm isn't drawn is because it's gonna be hidden. That's why it's not drawn. Nobody freak out. Um, okay. I'm gonna do my usual version of that. I don't know if it's gonna do it right. We'll have to find out. Okay, yeah, that's fine. That part I can make go away. You, go away. There we go. Now I will go and double check that everything was in there correctly. Um, he has been through a great deal of things in a very short amount of time, and he's still young for a vampire. He's only about 100 or so years old, And he's had to put up with so many things. And the reason, I just realized that these two, there we go. The reason he's had to put up with so many things is because of awful people, as usual. Um, but he's trying his best to not be a miserable person. It just comes naturally to him. He's, mm, hmm, trying to think of the best way to describe him. That's not right, is it? Oh, it is. It just looks weird uh, against the pink. He genuinely is a very good person, and he has his own weird ways of showing it, really. And he just, he's calm and kind and reserved, and he has a bit of a competitive streak. He doesn't like people to think that they're better than him at certain things, like sword fighting. He is very much the type of person that's like, oh, you disagree with me? Well, I'm gonna challenge you to a duel, see what happens. Uh, he does it mostly because he has a reputation for being big, scary, monstrous person. He's like, well, I need to uphold that because I am a big, scary, monstrous person. Obviously. I mean, look at this face. Look at this terrifying face. Um, oh, hello. Is that you, Nico? That's says two viewers? Because I know I have something up here because I'm watching it sort of through mine as well, so that way I can keep an eye on the chat. Um, Richard doesn't like doesn't like fancy clothes, despite being the most powerful man in the kingdom. He's like, I really, really would rather not. I just want to be comfortable. I want to live my own life. I want to get revenge on the people who hurt my family. Normal, very typical sad male lead sort of things. Um, but I think for him it is a little bit different since he genuinely has it's not a perceived slight. Like you know how in some stories, again, I always want to make my stories very clear and different and I don't want to use the same tired tropes over and over again. So with him, hi Miles. Um, what I really want is for he really does deserve to get revenge. It's not a perceived slight, it's not a misunderstanding. There's no sort of gray area in within his story. It is very much somebody messed up his life and now he's trying his best to get it back on track. He became a duke mostly because it is a position of power, and he was able to, I don't want to say weasel his way, because he didn't really do all that much. Somebody else very much helped him with that. Um, he, mm, he became a duke because it's a position of power, and with a position of power, you are able to keep a better eye on your enemies, and you are able to, um, how do I want to put this? Not control. Control is the wrong word. You're able to put yourself in a position where you can't be taken advantage of. And being one of the most important people in England is very much a position that is hard to be overlooked. You know, this is place, like I said, in Elizabethan England, specifically close to the end of Elizabeth's reign. around 1586, along those lines. When we done this, we're gonna do his eyes and his hat. Oh, he did not come with the sword when he first came in Metanor because he didn't want to be scary. He didn't want to be scary and intimidate somebody. He was trying his best to be uh, inconspicuous, but the way he talks very much reveals him as the nobleman because he is so refined in his way of speaking, I guess I would say. Forgot to do a stamp for his eyes, but that's okay. I can do that really quick. Just gonna do the little diamond really quick. I'm going to be making a stamp for everyone's eyes because it's like I said, it's just easier that way. Um, okay. It's easier when you're because you can just pop it on there and then erase what you need. Okie dokie. Alright, I think they look pretty good. What I'm gonna do now, I know you can't see the details on the eyes, but it matters to me. What I'm gonna do is the background now. And as I said, I usually paint in my backgrounds. I do use some background brushes and stuff, but like I said in my last stream, which again doesn't exist, I don't think that that's like cheating or anything. I firmly believe that if you have resources that you can use, you should 100% use them to your advantage and should not be ashamed of that. Oh, that's my dad. What does my papa want? What does he need? Mm, I'm gonna. Okay. Um, Give me just 1 second, guys. This is my dad. I have to answer him. There we go. Sorry. If you have resources, there's a reason people make brushes. There's a reason that people do these, create these sorts of things. You're supposed to use them to your advantage. You're supposed to utilize tools. Every artist utilizes tools whether or not they want to admit it. This is going to look really silly for a minute. I promise it will look better. Matches his hair too, a little too much. All right. So, um, it looks silly right now, but it will look better here in a little bit. Anora's family lives on a very country property. It is it's a very lush property, I would say. It has a lot of good resources and income and such, but at the same time there it's due to um a certain individual, her mom's spending habits, it has become a little bit more poor in the past years, and um it isn't what it used to be anymore. And Richard, who has known Honora's father for a little bit and has never met her before she became an adult. I want to make that very clear. Um, okay. And I can't decide if I want the stream to, sorry. I can't decide if I want the stream to end here or if I want to go beyond a little bit. I think I like it ending right there. Um, we're gonna put this in a folder so that way I understand where it is. That way everything's together. Okay. Um, he just knows her family. I want to make so the love story is between Richard and Honora. They are the people who are going to be the main characters of the series. And then I want another one back here. Reason I'm making so many layers for the background is so when I go to shade it and make it all nice and pretty, it'll look a lot better. All right. There's that. All right, we're gonna put in the bushes now, which are gonna go above Richard. So we're gonna have two background folders. Okay. So we need this one be a little bit darker. We want the hedges to go up a little bit. Um, the way that they do fall for each other, it's very it takes a while. Right? This is not an instantaneous attraction sort of, well, on her end it is. For him, it's very much a slow build to all this. They're people who both have some issues and have some things going on in their lives that they need to get sorted out. They both have a lot going on, really. And okay, how do I wanna? There we go. No, not tap that. There we go. Pushing through the leaves. Mhm. And then here is the big tree here. I talk to myself a lot when I draw, so apologies. Um, they're learning together how to be a what it means to really be people and what it means to understand one another and what it means to be in a relationship. This is not a relationship that's built in a day, it's not built in a week. This is months and months of people growing and learning together and becoming close through interaction and proximity and what it means to be a person through the lens of someone who views himself as a monster and what it means to learn how to love from someone who is not used to loving. So I think it's a very it's gonna take a little bit. It's basically what I'm trying to get at. Is they are very much going to take a while to get to know each other and to learn about each other. And I think that that's the sort of love story that I find personally the most beautiful because I think it's very beautiful when two people learn to be stronger and learn to love themselves more from being loved. And yeah, I mean that's the main thing. Um, I'm gonna move where this one is a little bit because it's not cooperating with me how I want it to. This is a willow tree that I'm drawing. So it doesn't look like a willow tree yet, but it will. It will. Um, and I think that's something that a lot of LGBT plus people can identify with is the feeling of being alone or feeling worried about rejection or not understanding when something, I think a lot of people don't understand the line or know the line of when something turns from platonic to romantic and how to deal with that. And we often see it through the lens of, say, like teenagers and stuff, but adults deal with this as well. And this is very much an adult story. I want to make that extremely clear that this is an adult story. So, but yeah, I think we've reached about an hour. I think that's pretty good for today. Um, yeah, right. I will be working on this more um between other projects and other stuff. Thank you, Nico, for coming by. Thank you for saying hello. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and log off for the day and do the other things that I need to do. So thank you for coming. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you again another time. Bye.